Welcome.
We've been waiting for this, and here it is, the first piece of content made by the governing body after the departure of Toni Morris. And Ken starts by reminding you how loving it is that they decided Jehovah reduced the hours for being a pioneer.
The memorial season is here, and the invitation campaign is underway. And with the new hour requirements for pioneers, many of us can now share in the pioneer work. We've received so many cards and letters from brothers and sisters who are thrilled with the new hour requirements for pioneers. One sister wrote, "As a mother, wife, homemaker, part-time worker, and caretaker for elderly parents, you have absolutely no idea what the update did for me today. I have tears even as I am writing. We are all so tired right now, but want nothing more than to faithfully serve Jehovah and stay active in reaching people in these last days." The announcement to reduce the pioneer hours was such an answer to prayers. It was so faith-strengthening and a complete reassurance of Jehovah's love for all of us. Thank you so much.
This is Social Pressure 101. Ken here is highlighting a letter describing how he expects Jehovah's Witnesses to feel after hearing they can have a made-up title by spending less time preaching. According to Kenneth, you should react with tears in your eyes. And he has another anonymous letter to convince you of it.
Another sister wrote, "I just wanted to take a minute to tell you how happy I was to get the new information on auxiliary pioneer hours. I cried. I have kidney dialysis 3 times a week. It takes a lot of my strength, but 15 hours? I can do that. What a wonderful God we have." These messages no doubt reflect the thoughts and feelings of many of you, dear brothers and sisters.
Since the pandemic, Jehovah's Witnesses slowed down on their spiritual routine. Since they could only congregate online and write letters, for the very first time in Jehovah's Witnesses' lives, they had fewer responsibilities without being shamed for it, because everything was suspended. And Kenneth is here to tell Jehovah's Witnesses that the wait is over, and all the nonsensical responsibilities are back.
Theocratic schools have resumed in person. Worldwide, more than 430 classes of the School for Kingdom Evangelizers and more than 170 classes of the School for Circuit Overseers and their wives have been approved for this next year. Additionally, elders have begun attending in-person classes of the School for Congregation Elders.
It's no surprise to see they're back on it, since they've been begging for elders for quite a few years now, and they must want to prevent losing the few elders they have. Remember, these schools are basically intensive indoctrination courses where you're expected to study not the Bible, but mountains worth of doctrine and organizational policy. And Kenneth has one more pointless thing that will soon become available for all Jehovah's Witnesses.
We're very pleased to inform you that beginning June 1st, 2023, tours of many Bethel facilities will resume worldwide in accord with local circumstances. Initially, for health and safety reasons, the number of persons permitted to tour Bethel will be considerably reduced. If no significant difficulties are encountered, the number of persons permitted to tour Bethel will gradually be increased.
Kenneth pretends here that there are still health concerns, like Warkill isn't the last place to lift COVID restrictions in the entire world. Seriously, which significant difficulties is Kenneth expecting to encounter? He doesn't know I'm saving up to go up there and make a video about it. But instead, Kenneth wants to talk to you about the latest natural disaster to get worldwide coverage to try to figure out how he can get some clout.
Our thoughts and prayers have also been with our brothers and sisters in Turkey. The magnitude 7.8 earthquake that struck on February 6th has taken thousands of lives. No doubt you've been wondering how our brothers are doing. We have Brother Ercüment Kadim with us to give us an update. Thank you for joining us, Brother Kadim. Can you tell us the latest on the situation?
Thank you, Brother Cook. Over 500 witnesses live in the affected areas. Sadly, one elderly sister died, as did a brother along with his wife and their 2 small children. Thankfully, no other brothers or sisters were killed or injured.
Once you wake up, you find it kind of disgusting that the only numbers they care about are their own. There's no thought or prayer for the almost 5,000 people that died in this horrible disaster, and the countless people in desperate need of any kind of help. To them, it's all good because, fortunately, their religion is extremely unsuccessful in Asia, so only 2 people died. But there's more.
Since 120 brothers and sisters have been displaced, some have wondered how they are being cared for and how the relief efforts are going. Thankfully, all have been accommodated either by family or friends or have relocated elsewhere. Their physical, emotional, and most importantly, their spiritual needs are being well cared for by the disaster relief committees and the local elders. It will take time to determine what their housing needs are and also what is possible.
Notice how he says that anyone who needed accommodation got it from either family and friends or elsewhere. The Jehovah's Witness organization did nothing but ensure that they are still indoctrinated.
All have been accommodated either by family or friends or have relocated elsewhere.
And now that you know that they haven't done anything for them, nor are planning on doing anything for them, he lets you know how you can help.
Many have asked, what can the Brotherhood do to help? Please, keep us in your prayers. And we also appreciate the generous support from our worldwide Brotherhood. Your donations have enabled the organization to provide relief to those in need.
Thank you, Brother Kadim, for your hard work with the relief efforts.
That's right. His advice is for you to donate to the organization that isn't doing anything to support the people affected by this disaster. This whole segment is just 2 minutes long, meaning they spent less time on this disaster than on reading letters congratulating them.
On January 18th, 2023, Brothers Gage Flegel and Jeffrey Winder were appointed to serve as members of the governing body. We're happy to have them with us here in the studio, and we'd like to spend a few minutes together so you can get to know them a bit.
That's right, Jeff Winder and made-up name are here in the studio, and they're about to have a completely natural, candid, and non-culty conversation with Kenneth to charm you.
Well, brothers, we understand that you were both raised in the truth by your Christian parents. So, what helped you to come to love Jehovah and want to serve him? Jeff, we'll start with you.
Having parents that were well grounded in the truth really did make a big difference to help us children choose the right path. And we always knew and loved the truth, but as I got older, particularly in my mid-teen years, the truth really became more personal and more real to me. And I could tell I was just beginning to make the truth my own during that time. So by the following year, beginning of the calendar year, I dedicated my life to Jehovah and got baptized.
Very nice. Thank you, Brother Winder, for sharing that. Gage, we'll ask you the same question. Get your thoughts on it.
Well, as was true with Jeff, home was fertile soil for my brothers, my sister, and me to grow spiritually. Both of my parents were living examples of faith. My father took advantage of the opportunities to teach us about creation and what this revealed about Jehovah's qualities, his personality. I have precious memories of getting up early and watching the sunrise with him. My mom, she started regular pioneering when I was 11 years old and has continued to this day. Her constant example of putting Jehovah first was definitely made a deep impression in my mind. And I was able to join her in the regular pioneer ministry my senior year of high school until I was able to go to Bethel.
Both Gage and Jeff were born and raised in their religion, and they both highlight how important it is to make sure your children are indoctrinated if you want them to live a happy life inside the religion. And they also want to tell you what motivated them to work for free at the cult compound for the rest of their lives.
Motivated you to pursue full-time service and Bethel service. And Jeff, please.
For me, a good association played a big role. As it turned out, at the circuit assembly that I got baptized, several other young brothers from our congregation got baptized as well. And at the end of that assembly, it occurred to us that we could auxiliary pioneer now. And so we decided to do it the very next month. And for Bethel service, my two older brothers served at Wallkill before me when I was just a teenager. And we had an opportunity to visit while they were there, and just seeing Bethel and seeing all that took place there really instilled in me the desire to want to serve at Bethel when I became old enough.
Very good. And Gage, what motivated you?
Well, full-time service was the right thing to do. To me, dedication to Jehovah and serving him in the fullest capacity possible go hand in hand. So that was always the goal that my parents had set before us. We always had special full-time servants that would stay at the house, circuit overseers, Bethel family members. They would stay, and seeing their joy is something that motivated me along those lines as well. At age 12, I was able to attend a Bethel meeting at the regional convention back at that time, and so it became crystallized in my mind that that's the direction I wanted to go.
Very good.
They both highlight the importance of being surrounded only by fellow cult members to ensure you believe the only way to be happy is to spend as much time as possible working for free for the organization. After all, Gage did say,
dedication to Jehovah and serving him in the fullest capacity possible go hand in hand.
this is nowhere in the Bible. Nowhere in the Bible says that God needs you to serve him at Bethel or at any organization. But as a Jehovah's Witness, you're constantly gaslit by the religion telling you your only purpose and source of happiness is to spend as much time and effort as possible working for free for the religion.
What have been some of your assignments at Bethel, and how have you benefited from them? Jeff?
Well, I began Bethel at Wallkill, and my first assignment was in the cleaning department. And for me, starting Bethel service in cleaning was an excellent way to start, because Bethel can really teach you some very valuable qualities like obedience and patience and humility. And starting off in a support department like cleaning, I felt like it really gave me a good head start in developing these qualities that would be useful the rest of my life. After that, I was transferred to the farm department, and I worked in what was like produce processing at Wallkill. And again, just a lot of fun, good brothers and sisters that we worked there, spiritual men and women, a lot of hard work, but one that I thoroughly enjoyed. And it was about 3 years that I worked in that department.
Wait, what is wrong with this photo? Really, look at it. It looks like somebody did a bad job at photoshopping Jeffrey's face onto this photo. I looked at this photo for longer than I care to admit, and after careful consideration and getting bored, I think it's a product of someone at Bethel trying to restore this photo so his face is more clear. But man, didn't Jeffrey take more photos of himself when he had hair?
And then I was transferred to the office, and that began a period of about 22 years of serving as a secretary for various brothers and various aspects of the work there at Wallkill. And during that time, I had the privilege to work along with brothers that had served Jehovah for years, had deep experience and wisdom and knowledge on how to administer the work at Bethel, and that really molded me and taught me things that I drew on in future assignments, and I continue to draw on today. And of course, during that time, you and I had the privilege to work together for about 10 years in the Bethel office. In 2016, I had quite a surprise when we were transferred to Patterson, and I was asked to work with the Audio Video Services Department. And I knew nothing about making videos or audio products.
Jeff has quite the record in Bethel. He started cleaning the bathrooms like any other Bethelite, to then work at the propaganda factory, to then move up into the corporate world of Bethel.
A very interesting work, but such a huge privilege to contribute to the production of spiritual food. And I really came to love the brothers and sisters in that department. And then in 2020, another big surprise when I was asked to transfer, we were asked to transfer to Warwick, and I was asked to work in the Personnel Committee office, again with just a solid group of very skilled and devoted brothers in that office that I've thoroughly enjoyed.
Which is when he started meeting members of the governing body. He then was transferred to the propaganda studio, and then to the Personnel Committee office before being appointed a member of the governing body. He comes across as a humble and serviceable guy who's fully indoctrinated and easy to work with. Perfect material for the governing body.
Well, thank you, Jeff, for going through that background with us. We enjoyed hearing that. And Gage, now for you, what have been some of your assignments and the benefits that have come from that?
Well, I started working in the bindery. I worked at the bindery for 8 years. And that taught me the value of being punctual, working hard and getting the job done, even if it was very hot. Conditions weren't always the best. And also the value of working with people of different backgrounds, different cultures, completely different from what I was accustomed to, and working together in unity and peace. Then I was transferred to the service department, an office environment completely different from the bindery. But I learned there the importance of getting all the facts before commenting on a matter, the importance of many advisors, consulting with different brothers before sending direction out, and also the practical value of Jehovah's Word, whether it's a personal issue, whether it's a family issue, whether it's a congregation issue. Jehovah's Word is practical in all of those scenarios.
Gage finally talks about his experience working at the service department. The service department is a department that the elders call when they deal with CSA cases. While Gage is waxing lyrically about how it was all about asking other brothers how the Bible should be applied, what he actually did is to check if any elder related to a CSA case was obligated by the law to report it. If they weren't, they were instructed to not talk about it with anyone in or out the religion to protect the image of the religion. Make no mistake, the service department does file the abuser's name and details on their database, along with any horrific thing they may have committed. But that database is exclusively for internal communication and is never meant to be seen by anybody else. He was part of the worst department of the Jehovah's Witness religion.
And then in 2015, I was asked to work with the teaching committee office. And there I learned that not simply preparing delightful words for the International Brotherhood, but also the importance of accurate words, preparing that for the Brotherhood, and seeing Jehovah's Spirit make sure that the completed project came about.
I don't think I need to address Gage's claim of only producing accurate information. After all, I made this channel around how they don't. Which reminds me, have you subscribed already? Now, they're invited to share a cherry-picked verse from the Bible to pretend it has helped them stay indoctrinated. And while Jeffrey has a pretty generic answer,
There is. In recent weeks and months, we've really come to hang on a couple of verses in Isaiah 26. And particularly with this assignment, I know that I could not accomplish this assignment on my own. O Jehovah, you will grant us peace, because everything we have done, you have accomplished for us. I feel like Jehovah is just reassuring me that you're not going to have to do it on your own, that Jehovah would help me. And I love that it's in the past tense. Everything we have done, you have accomplished, because we have history with Jehovah. I've seen him specifically helping me in past assignments to accomplish things that I knew I couldn't have done on my own, but Jehovah helped. And so then that reassures me, and as the verse says, it gives me peace. Fully lean on Jehovah. Jehovah's going to do the job. And then that peace can resume.
Beautiful set of scriptures there to share with us. We appreciate that.
Gage's answer is a bit more chilling.
Brother Flegel, same question for you.
I also have two verses. The first one is Mark 14:36. Jesus' words on the night before his death. He said to his Father in prayer, "Not what I want, but what you want." So my wife and I are a bit shy and reserved. So this is not the assignment that we naturally would prefer, but our life is not our own, and Jehovah guides us, our steps according to his will.
Gage here is telling Jehovah's Witnesses that it doesn't matter what they want. What matters is what the religion asks them to do, and once they're asked for that, they must do a great job at it, because God wouldn't have chosen them for the job if they weren't prepared for it. I think this is how they're gonna try and flip this Tony Morris departure thing. They're telling members that what they should focus on is the two new governing body members and how amazing and indoctrinated they are. This update only showed how the governing body is focusing on keeping people busy in the organization, hoping that that is enough to keep them focused on spreading toxic positivity instead of asking questions. But I don't know if this will work. After all, they have never had to deal with losing such a prominent person in the organization, because before they weren't a personality cult. So let me know in the comments, do you think this approach will be enough to shift focus away from Tony? Or do you think this will only cause people to ask more questions? Also, like, I don't have a lot of American friends, but I'm just gonna ask you guys, like, and please be honest with me, because I don't really know how to ask this. Okay, so please be honest about this. Is Gage a real name?